Hello friends, it's John from IT Skills Academy. Today I'm super excited because in this video and the upcoming videos I'll be showing you how you can be able to create an inventory management system from scratch. And so that you have an idea of what we'll be creating, I created this short video showcasing the final project. So just take your few seconds and watch what we'll be creating in these and in the upcoming videos. Enjoy. Now, before starting this video, I had already downloaded this beautiful admin template that you can see on the screen. So the name of this admin template is Extreme. You can download it from the internet for free. So it is this admin template that we are going to use to create the inventory stroke sales management system. So in this admin template, we only have two pages. That is the index.php and empty_page.php, which is the template page that we'll be using to create all the other pages. I'm also utilizing Bootstrap CSS, so I have the files linked in these specific folders as well as the JavaScript files. I also have the includes folder which has the assigned the header and the hand of the specific admin template. So now, having said that, I can now open my favorite IDE, that is Visual Studio, and this is the index.php page. And as you can see on the Explorer pane here, we have or I have already opened the folder that is the inventory management system, which is the name of our project folder, and inside it has all these files. And as you can see, we have the index.php open. So from on top here, I have required the head.php, and also down here I have required the header.php as well as the assigned.php. And so the first page that we'll create here is the supplier.php. So in fact this can be suppliers, and now within the supplier.php, as I have mentioned, we'll be utilizing this template So I'm going to come here and copy the code. I'll be showing you what this code looks like. So I just copy and paste that there. So if I head on to my browser and I go to the suppliers.php, this is how the page looks like. As you can see, this is an empty page. So this is where we'll be adding the table that will be displaying all the suppliers. So to be able to do that very quick, I'll just scroll down here and I'm looking for that sentence that reads this is an empty page. So now it is within here. So we are now going to add that table that will have the specific list of suppliers. And so now inside this div that has a class of container, so within this div I'll just come and create another div and give it a class of row. So within that row I'm going to come and create 12 columns. So I'll just come and say div dot call 12, and now within that specific div I'll create a card. So I'll just come and say div, and then now within the card we are going to have the card body. So I'll just come and say div card, and within the card body we are going to come and have the title, and the title of the card will be in a div that will have a class of dmd flex, and then now the title of the header itself will be in a h4, and the h4 will have a class. So we give it a class of card title, and the title itself is supplier list. Now after that, basically what we are going to do is to create a table down here. So I'll have another div here and I'll give it a class of table responsive, and within this now we are going to come and have our table, and I'll give it a class of table, and now within the table we are going to come and have the headings. So just come and say t hand, and then within the t hand we are going to have the th. Before we have the th, sorry, we should have the tl, the lows. So within that we can now have the specific columns, but this one we can give it a class of bg warning. And so now within this we can have some few columns. So I can just say th times 2, so that will give us 2. So we can just come and have this as serial number, supplier, and we can also have 2 more. So this should be supplier contact, and this will be the action. So for the action, because this column can hold a few buttons, we can just come and give it a class, and we can give it a class of call span 4. Now that is the t head. We can now come below here and have the t body. Now within the t body, the first thing that we are going to have is the tl, and within the tl we are going to have a few tds. So that should be 3 of them. So td times 3, and the first one will have the number, the serial number. The second one will have the name of the supplier. The other one will have the contact, and we in fact need another one for the maybe edit or delete button. So we can in fact come and say button, and the button name we can call it edit for now. We give it a type of a button and a class of btn success. And I think that's much it. So let's head on to the browser, we refresh that, and that's how the form looks like, or the table, in fact the table. So this is where we are going to have the list of all the suppliers that will be added, and we'll also be able to edit them here. We can even add a button here that can be used to add suppliers. So I can just come on top here, maybe just above the table. I can come and create another div here, and I can just come and say align is equals right, because I want the button that I'm putting here to be on the right side. So I'm going to have the div with the align light, and here I can have the specific button. So type is equals button, class is equals btn, just give it a success, and here we can just come and say and suppliers. We refresh that, should have the button there on the long side. Okay, so let me try and see how we can fix that. Maybe we can remove it there and have it outside here. We can comment it out, say and suppliers. Yeah, we have it there. So let me just give it a break here. Alright, we need one more, so duplicate that. And that's good. So this is the button again that will be clicked to add the suppliers. Alright, so now that we have the table that will be showcasing or displaying the suppliers, we now need to create the form that will be used to add the suppliers, and that's what we are doing next. So I head on to the text editor, that is the Visual Studio here. Within the same project folder, I create another file, and I call it suppliers.php. And so I'll just come and pick my template here, add it here, save that, head on to this portion here, and as usual here we'll again have a row. So a div with a class of row. Within this row we are going to create the 12 columns. So I'll say a div col 12. So now within this we are going to come and have the card. So just say card. Again here we have the card body, and now within the card body we are going to have the title. So here I can just come and have h4, and I give it a class, and the class will be card title, and the title itself will be and suppliers. So maybe we can have a small or just a sentence down here just explaining what this form is doing. So I can just duplicate this, and maybe we reduce the size of this, so I can make it head 6 or h6 rather, and this will be subtitle. and here we can just come and write a description and say use this form to add supplier. So yeah, just find it necessary to have it there. Alright, so we have that there, and it's working as we intended to. Now below that we want to now come and have a table. Now below that, what we want to do is to now come and have our form. So what I'll do is I'll just come and say a form with a method post. For now we're just going to leave the action blank. We will be coming back to it. So yeah, within the form we're going to have a table. We're going to see why we need to have a table inside here. So for now, let's just come and have a table here. So the table will be inside a div that will have a class of table responsive. So now here we're going to come and have the table with a class of table, and we should also say that it should be table bolded. Now within the table, of course, we are going to come and have the TL, and within the TL we are going to have the TH, and we need at least 3 of them. So I multiply that by 3, I hit the tab, and here the first thing will be a supplier name. This will be followed by the supplier contact, and finally here we are going to have the action. We can give this a class of call span 4, just to make it bigger to accommodate more buttons if we need to. Now down here we're also going to have another button down here. So I'll just come and say th. We'll see again the importance of this button, or why we need this button. So for now I just create it here. I give it a type of a button, and that should be having a class of btn. Let me just say success, and the button name should be and. Now outside the table we are going to have yet another button down here. So for this we are going to have it within a div, and this div will have the items around center. So now we are going to have the button here, so it will be in form of an input field. So I just say input, it should be a button, and it should have a value of insert. Can give it any name, and a class will be btn success, just like color green. So you may find me using success a lot, and we are going to have a few breaks here like so, and we are done. So we can now go to the browser. We try to, what's the name of that again, add suppliers. So we see what we have here. Yeah, and this is how the table or the form looks like. So this is the form that we'll be using to add suppliers. In this case we're just adding the supplier name and the contact. You can add as many details that you may want to collect from the supplier. For this video we're just covering the two. So we want to make it possible to be able to add multiple suppliers all at once. So we'll be utilizing jQuery to do that. So the purpose of this button is to be able to add several rows so that we can add the suppliers, and this will help us to insert the suppliers into the database. So I want to be able to implement that, so I'm heading back to the IDE here. Let me just make this block. So btn block. Yeah, I think it looks better if it is like this or when it is like this. Alright, so now we want to make it possible to add several laws. So like when a person clicks on this button, another law should be added, and it should continue like that, so that you can be able to add as many laws as you want. So to be able to do that, we'll be using JavaScript, and for that reason you can see I have linked to all the jQuery libraries that we'll need, and I'll comment here and say code to add laws when the add button is clicked. So I can just come and say script, and now within these we are just going to come and say $sign into bracket document, and here we are just going to come and say .ready, and this in brackets will be function, a set of curly brackets, so we should not forget to close this. So down here we are again going to come and have another $sign, a set of quotes, then a document, and basically now what we are saying here is that we are creating a function that will help us to add the law when the add button is clicked. So we're just going to come and say .click, and this one in fact should be .on, then a set of brackets, a set of single quotes, and then now the click, comma, a set of single quotes, the class and when the add button is clicked, then we want to have the function here, so that is a function, and a set of curly brackets. Sorry, this one should be outside here, so we should not forget to close that. So now what should happen when the click or when the add button is clicked? Remember, we have this as a class of the add button. I can just show you that here. So this is the class. So if that is not included in your project or in your code, if you're following what I'm doing here, then it will not work. So now within this function we are going to come and have some HTML. So I'm going to come and create a variable here. So say val HTML is equals a set of single quotes, and now down here we are also going to come and have HTML, and this is the one that will add the table row. So I'll say HTML plus equals a set of single quotes and now the TL, so that is the table row, and below that we also going now to have the table columns, so all the columns that we need. So I say HTML plus equals, we are basically adding a column, so I'll put a single quote, then the TD, and I should also close the TD here. And now within the TD we are also going to have an input, because we want to be able to insert the data from this column. So I'll have an input here. The input type should be text, of course, and it should also have a class. This being an input field, it should have a class of form control, so this is the Bootstrap class, and it should also have the supplier underscore name. In fact, we should also have it with, let me just minimize that there. You should also have a name of supplier underscore name, and we should also close it with a semicolon. I need several of these, so I'll duplicate this. So this will be for the supplier supplier contact, and this will be for the button that a person can use to remove. So if you need to remove any given law, you can be able to do that. So I'm providing that specific button here, and I'm giving it a class of remove, and this should be a button. So I'll say btn Deja, and the name should also be remove. Yeah, and in fact now here we are now closing the law. Now down here we should also now come and say append the table, so like the table that will be appending. So we should put a $sign here and say that this is the supplier underscore table. So this should be in a set of single quotes as such, and now here we can say dot append HTML, because we are just adding some HTML code here. So HTML, and we close that. So we should have the supplier name somewhere, so we should go to our table and give it an ID of supplier underscore. So now before we check whether the code is working, I also want to add the JavaScript code that will help us to remove a given law, just in case we need to do that. So down here I'll just come and say, comment this and say remove the table law when the remove button is clicked. Yeah, so to be able to do that, we are writing $sign document, and the document should have the dot on, and it is on click. So a set of brackets, a set of single quotes, dot click, comma. So what are we clicking? So it is at the button that has a class of remove. So I'll just come and say remove. This should be class, and what should happen after that is that this function should remove the given law. So create that set of curly bracket, and what should happen is that we should remove this. So and this is by cross it. Yeah, so just like that. So as you can see, we have this as the class of this button that we'll be using to remove a given law if we need to do that. So we should also not forget to close that there. Yeah, so I think my code is good, so we can check out and see if that is working on the browser. So I'm just refreshing this, then I click on the and as you can see the row has been added. So we just need to have the remove button with some text. So let me just add some text there. So this should be you can just have a value of what? A value of remove. So maybe if we now refresh that, click that, we have the remove, can add and we can remove. Okay, the button is not removing, so you seem to have bug there. Right, so we should not have this dot here, so let me just get rid of that. Then we refresh this, we and then we can now be able to remove them as such. So now you can see we are able to use the add button to add several rows. So you can be able to add several supplier names and their contacts, and if we need to remove one, we can just hit on remove to remove that. So now next we'll be able to click on the insert to be able to insert all the various suppliers provided. And that's all that we had for this video. So in the next video we'll be adding the PHP that will help us to add the suppliers into the database. We'll also be creating the database that we have not yet created. We'll also be writing the PHP code that will help us to display the suppliers on the suppliers page. So until then, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.